Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and you all already know how much I love AI and all the incredible benefits to our everyday lives that it's bringing to the world and to society. And that's why I'm so in love with the business that today's guest is building, because this is an incredible application of AI and technology, but most importantly, a very strong focus on the humans that AI is positively impacting. And I also love this founder's approach to building hand in hand with those users as well. So we're all in for a treat today. Let me introduce you to today's guest. Her name is Jane Alexander. Jane is the founder and CEO of Emma Advisor, which is an AI-powered college admissions companion helping families navigate the stress and confusion of getting into college, which, holy cow, those both are abundant when you're going through the college admissions process. She brings one of the most unique perspectives in education, having experienced homeschool, public school, community college, private undergrad, and graduate work at Harvard University. She went on to work as a consultant in Washington, D.C., advising over 200 universities on enrollment strategy and student success, and later served as VP of Strategy and Talent at a fast-growing edtech company. Now, from her home base in Sun Valley, Idaho, she's building Emma Advisor to give students ownership of the admissions process while giving parents peace of mind. So many incredible missions that Jane is on, so I'm excited about this one. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Jane Alexander. All right, Jane, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. It's great to be here.
Heck yes. I think it is so cool what you're building. I'm so excited to hear all about Emma Advisor. But before we jump straight into that stuff, I'd love for you to take us beyond the bio. Who's Jane? How'd you start doing all these cool things?
Okay, so you covered a lot of great stuff there, Brian, that I have this really unique education journey where I started off in homeschool in Idaho, in rural Idaho. That's where I grew up, and I went to public school some semesters and some years, and eventually I dropped out and got my GED. I went to the local community college and went to a private religious university and did my graduate work at Harvard. And so all along the way, I've seen that there's really unique journeys that students can go on. And what's most important is that that journey is the right fit for them. And when I got to the university, I was totally lost. Like, I did not enjoy my undergrad experience. I went to these massive classes. I majored in the wrong thing, history teaching. I never wanted to be a history teacher. I still am not one. And I want to build the tools now to help students get that clarity, get that guidance much earlier on in their education journey, so they don't have to wander around for 5 to 7 years like I did until they find what they really love. And for me, that was consulting. It was building businesses. It's problem solving. It's AI and tech. And as an undergrad in college, I had no idea that this would be the path I'm on. And I'm so excited that I finally found it. And now I want to help others find it sooner.
Yes, I love that overview, Jane, for so many reasons, so much goodness that we're going to jump into. And I will say, obviously, on this show, almost 1,300 episodes in, we've had some incredible entrepreneurs from all different industries. And I really enjoy. I've got a 7-year-old niece and nephew. They're twins, and they're in the DC area, actually. And so it's really cool because education is central to what a kid does at that age. They spend so many hours at school, and it's always fun for me playing uncle, which is the coolest role, to get to just play around on a computer with them and show them AI art and show them all of these different things. And obviously the educational sphere is one that's being shaken up by AI. But Jane, I will share with you as the host of this show that a lot of people think AI is negatively impacting the world of education. But of course, there's so many positive aspects towards it. And I would imagine parents and students are driving a lot of that excitement towards what AI can do for them. Talk to us about where Emma Advisor fits in that landscape, because obviously you're not in the classroom, but you're helping people go to the next stage of their academic careers. What's the feedback been? What's the sentiment? Obviously, AI is at the core of it, so I'm so excited to hear the reaction you've been getting.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question, Brian, because I had some concerns coming into building an AI tech company that teens are going to be engaging with our AI engine that powers Emma Advisor. And so on calls, I have been asking a lot of parents and their child, because we're doing a lot of customer discovery interviews, building this with the parent and child to make sure we're producing a product that they actually want that solves their problems. And what I hear from actually one parent said, you know what, I'm kind of hesitant about using AI, and my child is very concerned about it. She almost doesn't put anything on AI. And I said, okay, great, let's talk to the child. And she's like, you know what? No, AI is great. AI is this tool that I'm going to use. AI is just here. So even though there are these perceptions of like, oh, AI equals bad, we've seen a lot of news articles about this. What I'm hearing resoundingly from parents, even the parents who are hesitant about it, is that does not resonate with their teen. Their teen is using AI every day, and they're very comfortable with it, actually, which makes me concerned as a founder. I don't want them to be so comfortable with it that they don't realize that there are real dangers with using AI. And we're being very careful about that at MI Advisor. In fact, bringing on a family therapist to be able to review all of the content that the AI engine is providing to flag anything that's concerning, flag anything that teens should not be getting, flag any advice that could be against what might be industry standard in this particular area, so that this model is safe, because we are building in the space to reduce parent and teen conflict when it comes to college admissions. We want parents and teens to communicate better about this, parents to have better strategies than just nagging their kid about, did you meet that deadline or not? And that's where Emma inserts itself as that AI that acts as that neutral third-party voice that can balance out these differences of opinion and provide a little light family therapy along the way. And to your point, Brian, about education, the debate of like AI being banned in the classroom, codes of conduct around AI use, I'm not in that direction or in that camp at all. AI is neither good or bad. It's a tool, and we need to have the guardrails and rules and guidelines in place to use it. But it's here, and it's here to stay. And the more that educators can embrace that and schools can embrace that, they're not going to be pushing against this force that is already here and rapidly changing our world.
Yeah, I love the way you phrase that, Jane, especially because you really emphasize, and this is what I'm seeing the best AI innovators talk about, is the fact that it's merely a tool. It's not the thing. AI is not going to get me into college. AI isn't going to take my standardized tests for me. AI isn't going to magically position me as the candidate that I need to be with work experience and internships and all the other factors that go into it. But when you emphasize it as a tool, what I really want to add on to that is it's also a very accessible tool. That to me, as an entrepreneur of 17 years, that to me is what's very exciting, is the fact that historically it's been really hard to start a business, for example. To bring it into entrepreneurial terms, you have to know coding, you have to know marketing, you have to know sales, you have to have a financial backbone. Now, so many of those barriers are out the window. For $20 a month, anyone can have ChatGPT and they can be great at a lot of these things or have external insights. And when I think about it in your sphere, a lot of people for a long time, I remember I grew up in a working class town, which you very intimately know. Your husband is from the same town in central Massachusetts as I am. And so kids in surrounding towns, I had friends in Sudbury, Massachusetts who had college admissions counselors that could help them with all of these things. Jane, my family couldn't afford that. I had to do things the hard way. Because of Emma, it's way more accessible now to more families. Talk to us about how much that factors into your mission, because it just seems to me like the way that so much of your messaging is you want Emma to bring those top tier strategies and insights to every family who's interested in it. I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly where we're building, Brian. And to give you an example here, I'm acting as a private admissions counselor right now for one senior in high school. And the goal is that everything I'm learning in this interaction, I'm feeding into Emma and training the model. So it's really precise and really detailed. I'm getting paid $150 an hour to help this student make his login to Common App. Seriously, we're just choosing like email addresses, and this family is paying me this money, and that is very below market rate. Other counselors are charging $500 an hour for this advice. Admissions packages are $5,000, $25,000 plus dollars. I spoke to one individual, a dad. I'm not making this up. He paid $80,000 for his daughter's SAT tutor. That wasn't even the private school she had gone to, the private admissions coach they had hired. $80K for an SAT tutor. Money matters in this game. If you pay more money, if you hire that tutor, that admissions counselor, if you hire me to help you sign up for Common App, you will get into a better fit and more selective school. Just bottom line, that's it. We're building Emma not necessarily to get you into the top 20 school, because I don't think that matters as much for students as to find the school where they belong, the college where they're going to really fit. And for me, as an undergraduate, I applied to one school, one university, because my siblings have gone there, and it's a good thing I got in. But I had no exposure to any other colleges. I had no idea where I could go. I didn't know what that would look like. And so I just picked the one university, and it wasn't that great. I want to provide more exposure earlier on to kids and to their parents to see what the possibilities are for the teenager to understand themselves better, discover what they're good at, the right fit colleges for them, and then the step-by-step plan that kind of holds that anxious teenager's hand all the way up to get them through this very complicated process and into college, and for a fraction of the price that the wealthy families in Sudbury were able to pay to get their child into a good school.
Gosh, Jane, hearing the way you talk about this, it's funny for me because here we are, we have a tech founder, an AI founder here on the show, and a lot of people think that we're exclusively going to talk about that. But Jane, you keep coming back to the people. You keep coming back to the families. You have such a clear care for those people. And again, using your term of it's just a tool. The tool is the thing that's going to help you serve them. I want to go deeper there because it's so near and dear to your heart, and uniquely part of the way that you're building Emma Advisor is the fact that it is hand in hand with the parents and with the students themselves. What does that hand in hand building approach look like? Because I think it's something we can all embrace in our businesses.
Yeah, that has been core to our culture as we're building, that anybody on my leadership team is participating. It's required you're participating in these interviews that we're doing with parents and with students, that if you're the AI engineer, you're listening in for how to code this. If you're the designer, you're looking for the UI, UX experience. If you're me, I'm looking for the pain points and how we solve them, so that this is really resonating with parents. When I started building Emma Advisor, it was really threatening because I had this vision, I had this dream of making the college experience much easier and simpler for parents and for teens, and taking this immense amount of stress off their plate and automating many aspects of the work, with AI being part of the engine that drives it. And I said, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I have a couple good ideas, but that's not enough to build an ed tech company and to grow and to scale it over the years. And then what I found out, Brian, as I was doing interviews with parents, they had the good ideas. I have a whole list, a spreadsheet now, line after line after line of potential feature build outs. It just keeps growing and growing and growing, because in every parent and student interview, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Yes, let's build it. Let's do that. Okay, that's probably 18 months out. That's 2 years out. So where I'm getting the energy and the vision and the problem solving and the feature list, it's from the users themselves. So we can be sure we're building a product that's solving that pain point. And then it's not all on me to be this genius that's coming up with all of these great ideas. All I have to do is sit and listen.
Yes, I love that. I think that's a trap we all fall into as entrepreneurs, is that we think the answers have to come from within. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. I feel like you just exposed one of the biggest entrepreneurial truths, which is we actually will look smarter the more that it is we listen to the people we want to serve, because ultimately they're the only ones that have all the answers. The same is true in marketing. If people are having marketing problems and they're saying, how do I bring this to market? Listen to your customers. They're going to tell you exactly what that marketing plan needs to look and sound like. So Jane, I love that approach. I love the fact that you've just given power to the people that it is that you want to serve, because ultimately they're the only ones that matter. I've got to ask you, what does that feature set look like then? Because hearing the fact that you're coupling your real life experience of fulfilling this role as a person, as a human, not AI, and the fact that it has so much user input, you really picked at some of the scabs that I remember from the college admissions process. Is just like you, I only applied to one school, and it was the school that my brother went to because I didn't know any better. So that's one pain point. I'm just like, gosh, if I had an AI advisor that could open my eyes to other possibilities in schools, that's a huge benefit. What other features have you already implemented in Emma Advisor, and what's on the roadmap? Because I feel like that's the path that so many people are going to be able to lean on in that accessible way we talked about.
Yeah. So the core features that really demonstrate the value that Emma Advisor can bring is helping the student early on, the teenager, freshman. It needs to start freshman year. If you're building an application profile that's strong for a selective university, you can't start junior year when you take that SAT. You have to start freshman year. So a lot of freshmen will say, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm still discovering. That's really great. But we're building Emma Advisor to help that student understand What are they good at? What do they like to do? What are potential career paths? And then building back from that. We're not starting out like first, oh, do you want to go to a rural school or a big sports school or a school close to home? No, we need to have a bigger vision for that. And we need to help the student discover things about themselves that maybe the parent didn't even know. And we're sharing, Emma has some osmosis between parent mode and student mode. And so the parent can see, what is the student exploring? What is the student matching with? What is the student understanding about themselves? And then from there, provide that college match that goes beyond those rankings, those lists. I love the new lists that come out every year. Check out the new top 20 schools. Guess what? It's just a reshuffle of the old top 20 colleges that we've seen before. Yale is going to be on that list every time. UC Berkeley, Stanford. Like, this is not surprising. But what I'm hearing more from parents and from students is that they're prioritizing fit and belonging, because those top colleges are going to get nearly 1 million applications. Okay, Brian, 20 top schools in the US will get 1 million applications this application season. It's a crapshoot if any student's going to get in. So what Emma Advisor is changing the narrative toward, let's find your dream school that you're really going to love, that matches the profile that you're building, that matches who you are as an individual. And then let's give you those highly customized options. So you're not seeing a list of 20 schools. That's very overwhelming. You're seeing a list of 10 to 15 curated schools that are right fit for you. And then the parent can see, oh, my child's actually engaged in this. They're selecting schools. They can see on parent mode what their child is working on, what are the upcoming tasks they need to be completing and whether they're completing them. And then the parent can just take a step back and be like, my child's got this. I don't have to nag. Like, they're in good hands. They've got Emma Advisor. And where we're building toward is being able to really provide an experience that within the platform that students love and engage with. And a lot of this has to do with executive function. I know that that's surprising when it comes to admissions, but we're asking a teenager, a 15, 16-year-old, to do one of the most complicated processes to apply to 10 to 15 to 20 schools and to start that 4 years ahead of time. Okay, if you don't have any parental help, if you don't have any college counseling, if you don't have a high school counselor or private counselor, you're accepting a lower admissions decision. You're going to undermatch, not get into the school that's right fit for you. And so Emma is stepping in there and saying, let's help actually build kids' executive functioning skills, the decision-making, the task management, the time management that's going to help break this ginormous and very stressful process into bite-sized pieces and give them rewards. Hey, good job, you did that. Wow, congratulations. And sending those little notifications, nudges to the student and to the parent, so the parent can feel like, oh, my child's learning and growing. They're actually doing this, because every parent wants their child to own the entire admissions process. And I mean, you can do that, but you're going to end up going to a very open access institution. If you're aiming for a more selective school, you need a lot of wraparound support. And that's where Emma Advisor can step in. So the parent doesn't have to do that, but the child can own the journey with the help of an AI that's encouraging, warm, and motivating.
Yeah, it's so interesting hearing the way you talk about this, Jane, because again, I mean, it's right there in your bio. I feel like the spoiler is right there, is the fact that you have this unique perspective on all different angles of the admissions process. Because when I think back to how painful that process was and why I ended up applying to one school that fortunately I got into. And so, but I think about what I was dreading, and especially my friends who have kids who are 16 years old, 17 years old, that this is the time they have to ramp up their college searches, and the kids just aren't engaged. And I think back to, it's a concept that I heard when I was a sophomore in college and I was looking for a college internship, and Goldman Sachs, for one reason or another, it was like one of my dream companies that I wanted to work for, and a recruiter was on campus. And I asked her, how do you go through your initial screening? This is way before the world of AI, fortunately. And I'll never forget, Jane, that recruiter said to me, well, we get too many applications, so we throw the unlucky ones out. And that really sat with me. I was like, what does that mean? They throw the unlucky ones out. And obviously I realized, yeah, they can't go through that volume. You talk about 1 million applications for the top 20 schools. And then I was introduced to the concept that Seth Godin coined, which is the term of the tyranny of being picked. And I feel like, looking backwards, that's what I was rebelling against in college admissions. It's that terrible feeling of, oh, I'm begging all of these schools to pick me. Whereas it sounds like you have such a data-driven approach that also brings a lot of realistic approaches to the college admissions process, where you can say, hey, here's the reality, the situation of your grades, here's your extracurriculars, here's the acceptance rates, here's the criteria that they're all looking for. It just sounds to me like it avoids that awful feeling we have as kids of the tyranny of being picked. Talk to us about both that data-driven approach, the objective approach. I don't know how it all factors in, but it sounds like you've baked it into the way that Emma Advisor operates.
Yeah, I think that's really huge. I was talking to one parent and I said, well, how did you decide what schools your child was going to apply to? Was that their decision? Was that your decision? And they said, I was happy with whatever my child picked so long as it was Harvard. And that child didn't end up going to Harvard, because going back to the more data that the child can enter into the model about themselves. And that's test scores, that's academics, that's also what they like to do, their hobbies, how they spend their time. So Emma will give pulse quizzes, brief questionnaires that are easy to answer, that are fun to answer over the years that she's getting to know that student, and be able to build a really solid profile of that child. It's the same thing with the parent. In the parent mode, the parent is entering their goals. So the parent would enter, has to go to Harvard, but the parent's also going to be more expansive than that. Over time, the AI is going to get to know the parent too, and return the schools that are really going to be best fit for the child. And those are schools that might not be on the top 20 list. That they might be schools that are more regional, but have very strong regional employer connections. And it will be also the school that when the child gets on campus, because there's also the issue with dropout rates at some schools, or non-complete stopouts or dropouts, or changing majors, or changing majors several times. I don't really think that's the fault of the child or this college student not knowing what they want to do, or they got into a wrong major. I think it's overall fit. They just got a bad fit. They might have got a bad fit at that university or at that major with nobody guiding them. And so the more data they can provide about themselves, the smarter the model can be trained then to personalize those recommendations. So when they get to right fit university, they're not thinking about transferring or dropping out or going into the workforce or whatever. They're not thinking about changing their major either. And then the parent can see this very steady progression from early on, freshman year all the way through, as their child's exploring and growing up and getting to know themselves better. And so it's very core to Emma's model that she is the AI getting all of this input from the parent and from the student. We're really building it in ways where that's digestible and easy. We don't want to put in front of them a 3-hour personality test like some of the high schools these kids go to will put in front of them. And that's just exhausting and overwhelming. And it doesn't provide the precise types of insights that a student could get through using a highly trained AI model.
Yeah, Jane, I've got to ask you this question. It might be me throwing a little bit of shade at traditional guidance counselors, ones who are not focused on what's coming in the future. But part of me really wishes this solution was there when I was a high schooler, because I remember countless times going to my guidance counselor's office, especially, again, trying to fight that inside feeling of the tyranny of being picked. And I was worried. I think a lot of high schoolers are worried. I did early decision to the one school that I applied to, and I was just like, I better get in. I really don't have a backup plan. And so trying to have my guidance counselor navigate that with me while they were also navigating that with probably 150 other students, it's not really setting anybody up for success. And so I guess the marketing geek in me is thinking, Jane, I hope a bunch of high schools, especially ones that need this sort of accessibility, are tapping into the powers of a solution like Emma Advisor. And I hope they're knocking on your door saying, Jane, help us bring that to our students and families. What is that distribution plan? Because I can see so many partnerships as long as they're open to it. And that's where the little bit of shade comes in. And I want your perspective on that. Is this a solution that traditional educational institutions are opening their eyes to and saying, hey, let's get on board early. Let's help our parents and our students more? Or what's that landscape look like for you to navigate?
Oh gosh, so many thoughts here, Brian. Okay, first a couple stories. That ratio of the counselor, high school counselor, your pain is felt by nearly all public high school students. The ratio is about one student or one high school college counselor to 500 students at a high school. And those college counselors often know a little bit about national schools, but mostly about regional schools. If you're at a highly competitive K-12 school that says we place our kids in the Ivies, what they're going to do is discourage some of those students that they don't see as Ivy material from applying to those top 10, top 20 schools, because it hurts their numbers, because it looks like, oh, too many of our kids applied and they didn't get into these schools, so our ratio is going down, or our percentage of admittance is going down. So it's not great at the public high schools, and for those more competitive private schools, it's not great either that you're turning kids away from applying to schools that they have interest in just because they might not get in. So getting back to your question of working with, what's the distribution channels of working with schools? Absolutely, that is on our roadmap as a very important distribution partner, but we're very intentionally building direct for consumer first, because there are other college admissions products on the market not solving the same space that Emma is, which is really around getting the parent involved, lowering conflict around it, while providing really expert guidance, steps, and advice along the way. But these products are building more for the school counselor. And when you have a product that's built for the school counselor, students don't like to use it, because it's not very interactive, it's not highly designed, it's pretty boring. And so they're building these companies, I mean, rightly so, because they're doing a B2B business and they're selling into these schools. I don't want to do that. I want to intentionally design upfront for the parent and the student an incredible experience that these kids and these families love. And then I'm going to take it to the school and I'm going to say, guess what? We've built this product that families can't get enough of. And so we're giving you the opportunity. Do you want to get on board and expand the impact of your counseling staff? Then let's have that conversation. But I want to start first with the end user and not make the mistake of building for the school counselor.
Yes, I love that answer. That shows how strategic and intentional you're being about the way that Emma Advisor is getting into the world, because you're right. I mean, it's easy, especially as the host of this show, someone who interacts with entrepreneurs for a living. I know how much easier B2B channels sound and how much bigger those deals are. Heck, why would I sell to 10,000 people individually when I can get one B2B enterprise level sale and get all these customers built into that? But Jane, again, here we are talking about a tech startup going straight to the people, someone who so deeply cares about the people that it is that you're serving. I think that there's a lot of lessons to be learned inside of that. And you've been such a wealth of knowledge that I don't know how you're going to top all that for my final question, but I do ask this at the end of every episode. And that is, what's your number one piece of advice for listeners? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys, and also knowing that you are one of us, you are a fellow entrepreneur. What's that one thing that you want to offer to our listeners as they go forth and think about all these things you've strategically shared about your own business, and they probably are saying, gosh, Jane's really intentional about this stuff. How do I bring that into my own company? What's that piece of advice?
Oh, so good. And I thought about this, Brian, preparing to come on the podcast. This has been brought up in other episodes of the podcast as well, the importance of building in public. So when Emma Advisor was just launching, when it was an idea in my head, when I was excited about this and I'm like, okay, I'm all in, I'm going to do this, I was looking for partners to join and to build Emma together as very early stages. I didn't have a lot to offer them. And I think one of the underrated challenges of founders is finding the right team to build with you, especially early on. So I was talking to one of my mentors and I said, hey, how do I do this? She said, Jane, you don't have any traction. I'm like, well, I get that. It's just an idea in my head right now. I'm working on my pitch deck. And she said, essentially what you need to do is to build in public. And she shared her experience of starting to post more on LinkedIn. She said for 1 month, set the goal to post every single day. I always saw LinkedIn as the most boring of social media platforms, and I still don't think I'm wrong, but it has become an incredibly powerful tool. So that is my strategy for the entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs listening to this, is to build in public. Find your social media channel of choice and start consistently building your audience. I went to my LinkedIn profile right after that conversation. It was very anemic. I didn't have very many connections. I brushed it off. And then it was, honestly, Brian, it was so embarrassing. I was like, am I really going to do this? Am I going to really start talking that I'm building this ed tech business? I can't believe I'm going to do this. And I started posting. I started posting stories about being homeschooled in rural Idaho, about my journey up to an Ivy League, about what I'm hearing from parents, about my my expertise in the college and career space. And that has been so rewarding. I now have strong team members that saw through LinkedIn that I'm 100% committed to changing the college admissions experience for families. They saw that I have the expertise and the ability to do it. And it grew my network tremendously. And now I see LinkedIn as one of my most important tools. So I would say for anybody out there, get over the embarrassment if you're feeling embarrassed. Start posting consistently in a social media platform, stick to your story and build it. And people will come to you because they are interested, they want to learn more, and they want to connect with you. And that has been a hugely powerful tool for me.
Yes, I love that. Jane, I know as the host of this show how hard it is to give advice for both wantrepreneurs and entrepreneurs because we need different things at different stages of our journeys, but that is such a universal truth right there. And I love the fact that you called it out of, hey, don't be scared. Like it feels silly being the person who's on that proverbial platform and sharing our innermost thoughts with the world, but huge kudos to you for overcoming that and huge appreciation to you for expressing that and articulating that and sharing it with our worldwide audience. So incredible advice. Listeners, if you've been looking for a sign that you need to kick up your butt to start doing those things, Jane just dropped it on all of us. So Jane, it's been on my list of the fact that my LinkedIn is so outdated. As entrepreneurs, we don't really use LinkedIn that much, but yeah, that's my inspiration. I'm going to sit down this week and absolutely revamp it. So thank you so much for that advice. I'm also very excited for listeners to check out not just your LinkedIn, but all the great things that you're up to with Emma Advisor. So drop those links on us for listeners who want to find you and all the great work that you're doing. Where should they go from here?
Okay, great. I have 4 great places. Listen up. If you are a parent and a entrepreneur and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit worried about college admissions for my child, go to emmaadvisor.ai and sign up for our waitlist. You'll get early release, you'll get news about the product, and you will be able to stay up to date with all the cool things we're building and also be able to inform the product as we build it. Okay, number 2, if you are looking for tips and tricks, the hidden rules of college admissions, check out our TikTok channel. That is Emma Advisor, and it will be fun for students and for parents to learn about the hidden rules of how to get into your dream school. You can follow me, my founder journey, and me building from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho on Instagram, Emma with Jane. And then please connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to build my network. I love to meet new people and to connect with them. Reach out to me. Jane Morgan Alexander is my profile on LinkedIn. You can find me there.
Yes, and listeners, on top of all of that, you know how easy we make it for you to find all of those links down below in the show notes. No matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode, we're dropping all of those links, including a link to Jane's personal LinkedIn down below. So definitely don't be shy if you're on the go. Don't worry about remembering any of this. You can click right on through from the show notes. So Jane, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much, Brian. This has been awesome.